I'm fasting from spending any money, and this is why you should too. In order to manifest more prosperity and more abundance in your life, you must learn how to feel prosperous and abundant from within. Here's the thing about wealthy people: wealthy people do not spend until they have $0 left. A wealthy person could have 1 million, 2 million, 6 million, 1 billion in the bank, and they will not continuously spend until they have nothing left. What I love about fasting from spending is that it allows me to strengthen my level of self control by selecting the things I'm going to spend money on. And when I fast from spending, I only spend money on bills. And this month, I'm still going to go out to dinner with friends. But those are the two things I'm going to spend money on. No random purchases on Amazon, no random trips to the store, just me and my money. It's just going to be me and my money.
I am Dominique Davis, also known as Brown and Bindi, and here on this channel we practice flexibility of the mind, the body, and the spirit, okay? I am so lazy today, so lazy. I woke up early at like 5:30, did like morning stuff with the kids, and after AJ went to school, I came back home and I got in Olivia's bed. I just laid there for like an hour while she played. I'm so glad that she was kind enough to let me do that. But I think just because my moon cycle is starting, it's time for me to care for my body and to start to get into a little bit of a nurturing, loving space for myself. I'm usually a power yoga girl, but today my body really asked me to be gentle and kind, so I did just that. Speaking of yoga, I am my own sponsor. This is a reminder. Join the Patreon. Just do it. Just join the Patreon. It's $4.44 a month, and we do yoga classes every other Friday. We have 2 yoga classes that are on there right now that you can just go watch and do. So I mean, I don't know where else you can do that for. I don't know who else is doing that. And this is not like a free trial or like a limited time offer. It's going to be $4.44 as we continue forward in life. To be honest, I am infamous to my friends and my family for always ignoring what my body's asking for in the name of productivity. And I'm working on it. I'm a work in progress. But being on this money fast is a way to really identify when we use spending as a form of stimulation, which again, I do quite often. And now that I'm not spending, going randomly to the coffee shop or going to randomly go out and buy food or to the store and to buy like home decor and stuff, knowing that all that's off limits, a lot of my daily habits and activities do require me to spend money, and I'm not doing that. And when those things are taken away, they're stripped away, and we're put in a position where we have to find contentment with what we already have, the activities that are already available to us, I feel like that gives us the opportunity to observe what already is. Spending is an act of pulling things into your reality and manipulating your reality so that you can start to form it and mold it. That's what we do when we spend. We bring objects into our reality. There's nothing wrong with that. But when we take a break from that, we are put in a position where we have to observe what already is. And that's what's so powerful about the spending fast. Because if you don't do it, you have to tell yourself, I need to take a break and observe how my reality is right here without manifesting, without manipulating reality. I have to just see what is. And so often we don't do that. We don't take stock of what's going on in the present moment. And I am a huge believer that it takes an understanding of what we currently have going on to know how we can get to where we want to be. The thing about co-creation, and this is my theory, I can't recommend a book, I can't tell you where I got this theory from, this is simply my theory. There's a difference between co-creating with God and manifesting. You can manifest whatever you want. You can manifest $1 million. You can manifest a mansion. You can manifest a trip across the world or a move across the world. You can manifest whatever you want. But when it comes to co-creating implies that you're partnering with God to create your desired reality. And that's why I shifted my channel in the direction of co-creating, because oftentimes when we just focus on manifesting, we treat healing like it is an option. Healing isn't optional in my eyes, because we can manifest something and then not be able to maintain it, and then our self-concept can become very damaged, and like, who's trying to do all that? So when it comes to spiritual co-creation, I'm a personal believer that when we are teaming up with God to manifest something, we will not manifest unless it's in our best interest. So when I say that we will not manifest unless it's in our best interest, I mean that there is a part of our subconscious that has surrendered and humbled itself to a higher power. So when we don't attract anything into our reality, we don't take it personally, we don't become upset and overly emotional. And instead, we understand that I have not pulled this thing into my reality because a higher power says I'm not ready or I'm not holding space in the correct way. Now, when this happens, we don't want to say, okay, I'm never going to get it, because I believe that anything is possible, especially with God, anything. But when it's not coming as quickly as we want it to, it gives us an opportunity to say, what could God be protecting me from? And when we take the time to go on a spending fast, which means we're not adding new components to our reality. A lot of times when we fast from spending, we're not going out to eat with friends as much, we're not socializing as much. So it's not only a fast from spending, but it's a fast from a lot of our daily routines and activities. So when we're put in this position to practice stillness, we have the opportunity to say, well, what have I been trying to pull into my reality? And what do I have going on right now that could be blocking that very thing from coming into existence? You're gonna hear me say this a lot, but going on a money fast is absolutely beautiful. I will say right now that during this money fast, I have compromised in a lot of ways. You guys know I said in a couple vlogs ago that I don't like to go to the barbershop because I like to be in control of when I get my hair cut. And almost a week ago, I went to the barbershop. I got my hair cut. And I did this during the spending fast because I was giving clarity that I make YouTube videos and my appearance matters. A lot of times, especially, I notice a lot more yoga teachers are starting to follow me, and I really appreciate that. Hi guys. But a lot of times when you have a calling that is grounded in wellness or in things that just aren't very superficial. It could be academic, it could be like physical health, just things that aren't very superficial. Sometimes we can back away from society and the superficial things, and that's not a bad thing. But I realized that I personally want to respect your eyeballs, and a part of that is maybe I will get a haircut every once in a while, even if it makes me uncomfortable. So I prioritize getting a haircut as a business work expense during my fast, because fasting from spending in all other areas gave me the opportunity to make space and gave myself that clarity. Getting this haircut opened me up to realizing that my career and what I see for myself is progressing and it's evolving. And as it evolves, the chances are I probably will not have time to cut my own hair. I will have to go to the barbershop more. So it gave me perspective. And that's the thing about this spending fast. We have to learn how to balance our expansion with our current level of prosperity. Like I was saying before, it's very unlikely if you're spiritually co-creating that God will give you something that you're not ready for, because you will not be able to maintain it. It is a partnership, right? So if you are not able to maintain what you have now, you will not be able to attract more. And let me tie this together. Let me find the glue. What I'm saying is giving myself permission to get a haircut and seeing myself as a person who is consistently going to the barbershop, consistently keeping up with making appointments, because I did walk in an hour before they closed, and that's a whole different story. Like, this was a growing process for me. But being a person who keeps up with making appointments, who keeps dates on her calendar to go get her hair done, that turned me more into a person that is likely to be a public figure and to be someone who her audience can rely on to consistently produce and put out content, because on the back end, I'm keeping myself together. I don't know if that makes any sense, but we must learn how to balance where we currently are, the current prosperity that we have, with our evolution. That's why it's not an overnight thing. That's why we don't just manifest $1 million in one day, because manifesting 20,000 is a different experience than manifesting 100,000, and that's a different experience than manifesting 250,000. Those are all different experiences that will bring different levels of growth. So instead of trying to fast forward to the end, we can do things like money fast to say, where is my psyche right now? Where am I currently as a person? And is there anything that I need to shift in my personality that will make me more of the person that I want to be? And we do this subconsciously, but a lot of times we think the answer is spending. We think, okay, to become the person I more want to be, I'll just get a new pair of earrings. I'll just get a new pair of jeans. I'll just get a new pair of this, that, and whatever. I'll get a new computer. I'll get a new car. I'll get a new house. That'll turn me into the person I want to be. Now we can ask ourselves the same question, knowing that the answer does not come from spending money.
You got to decide right now, what habits do you have as a leader that you have to change now? Because you will not see around the corner. You will not engineer that next quantum leap unless you personally change.
I'm going to tell you something you don't want to hear. Our lack of self-control comes from fear. So whenever we do things that we know we shouldn't be doing, the action comes from this place deep, deep down that says, well, I have to do this or else I will not survive. And that's where the habit of overspending comes from. I try to tell myself that when I want something, it is simply that, a want. When you're able to differentiate between your desires and understanding which desire is a want and which desire is a need, you're able to monitor how much energy and detachment you're putting into the desire. And where I am in life right now, all I need is Jesus. All I need is water and bread, And that's not to say that if I lost everything that I have, that I wouldn't be emotional. That's not what I'm saying. But I think that at some point, this has nothing to do with Christianity. Everyone's path is specific to them. But if it's not Jesus, then let it be the breath in your lungs. If it's not Jesus, let it be your heartbeat. Like, this isn't about your religion. This is about what you put your power in and what you put your faith in. Because if we believe that all we need for happiness is the breath and water, things that are easily accessible, we realize that our happiness is easily accessible. When we're able to remove that intensity from the desire, then we can see clearly and navigate our internal energy accordingly. I woke up with a fever today. It was 101 degrees, but last week I took a break from vlogging because I'm going to take a 1 week break every quarter just to keep myself energized and balanced and all that fun stuff. So I was just like, I gotta push through. I gotta push through and do my work. And I'm so glad because now my temperature is like 98 degrees, and I would have been so mad if I was just like, oh, I'm sick, I'm not gonna do anything. And then my temperature went down because I would have felt like it was for no reason. A spending fast will help you strengthen your restraint as well as your ability to practice self-control. A lot of us think that we have restraint. Oh, that's my speaker turning on. A lot of us think that we can practice self-restraint and that we have a lot of self-control. But I think that we also have to remember that we live in a reality where there are these things called triggers. Like, trigger is such a buzzword now that like everybody says it and it's a constant thing. So we all know what it is. Your triggers are when something in your external reality happens that has an effect on your psyche and makes you act and speak and think in ways where you feel disconnected and out of control and separated from your internal narrative. That's my definition. Because triggers exist, it's important to be realistic about our expectations for ourselves. I know that when I'm triggered, I don't act the same way as I do when I'm in a state of ease. That's just common sense. But it took me a long time to put that into my belief system, that I'm not the same person when I'm triggered, and that's okay. Giving myself that ability to see that allows me to not get into states of frustration when I'm triggered, and I'm able to just observe. And that's what a spending fast does. It forces you to be in a state of observing because a lot of us react to our triggers by spending money or by seeking an experience that costs money. So when we're not able to access that experience or access the feeling of just spending, we have to sit with ourselves and observe what's going on. And through that observation, there's just so much treasure there. There's so much good. In that observation, one, we're learning to be comfortable with the feeling versus trying to escape it. And when we learn to be comfortable with the complex feelings that come from our triggers, because I hate saying this word so much because it's such a buzzword, but our triggers are directly associated with all of our deepest, darkest traumas, the parts of our past that we do not like thinking about, that we do not like acknowledging. And I'm not a therapist, I just personal experience. The parts of our past that we do not like acknowledging, that we do not like thinking about. But the catch-22 is, if you don't think about these parts of your past, then you're not aware of why you make these decisions or why you get out of control in certain situations and you lose control of your internal state. A spending fast helps us recognize when we are getting into states of fear and getting out of touch with our present moment. And it makes us acknowledge these situations as opposed to escaping through spending.
What's this for, like, skinny ladies?
I love you. One day. Oh my gosh, this much for $16? No. No. Okay, yeah, it's a five.
Okay. I was about to say, no.
I was like, what?
Toothpaste.
Toothpaste, yeah.
Tooth.
How did this happen? How is it you're broken through my shell? How can you say that you love me? How can you say that you
Okay, so I'm still a little under the weather. I woke up feeling sick again, but I just had so much stuff planned for today. I have so much stuff planned for tomorrow and Saturday. I'm not vlogging tomorrow and Saturday, unfortunately, but I have so much stuff planned, and I'm starting to think that I have a limiting belief that says that if I try to really live an expanded life, that something will go wrong, because I've really been pushing the limits of my experience lately and I keep getting sick. And I'm just like, I don't believe in coincidences. What does this have to do with my subconscious? But you know what? We're rocking, we're rolling. I have a friend coming over today. She's in town to visit me, and I am so grateful that she's stopping by. I feel so special. She's so sweet. And I told her that I'm actually on a spending fast, so I want to make a little charcuterie board for us to enjoy at my house. I set a budget of $35 to spend on the charcuterie board. I spent $24. And we all know that if I were to go out to eat, a plate, going out to eat with friends, like drinks, appetizers, entree, dessert, that's gonna be anywhere from $75 to $125 a person. So I made the decision, instead of telling myself, no, I can't see my friend, I made the decision to just have her come over and we'll spend some time at home. I think that's a nice little compromise. And that brings me to my final point of the money fast. I'm gonna start putting the charcuterie board together, and I'm going to go over that final point with you. The beautiful thing about this money fast is that it allows you to experience the fact that you are already wealthy. If I were to have this state of mind, oh, I can't afford to go out to eat, I'm broke, that could spiral really quick, right? And we've all been in places in our lives where we couldn't afford to go out to eat. I'm gonna tell you something. I'm gonna tell you something about rich people, at least my rich friends. I have a couple of friends who have new money. I have a couple of friends who have old money. And let me tell ya, my old money friends, when they overspend, or when their finances do not look the way that they want, my old money friends have no problem eating PB&Js for a week. Does this mean that they're not making income during this week? No. But it gives them a sense of control. They lower how much money is going out while they energetically begin to feel more in control of their financial situation. Can I share something funny with you? When I was the brokest I have ever been, and I don't mean like for a week, I mean like this period of my life where my income was low and my spending was high, I was still going out to eat. I never did a spending fast. And my friends, who I assume, based on their behaviors and the things that they would say, my friends, were just as broke as I was. And we were all going out to eat. Looking at bank account balances on our phone saying, well, I have $52 in my account, so I guess I could afford about $45 on this meal. And I'll never forget, this wasn't enough of a catalyst for me to change, but it's a memory that I have. It was a memory that, like, it was the first time where I was like, something about this reality choice is not correct. I remember going out to eat with a couple of other people. We were all, it's saying lower class and middle class in America is so hard, because it's like, we were under the poverty line, but I feel like everybody is under the poverty line. Like, that's the norm here. It's a very drastic difference between like abundance mindset and poverty mindset here. So we were middle class technically based on like the places that we lived, but we didn't have much disposable income. So we had gone out to eat. Now, that being said, when people who don't have a lot of disposable income are going out to eat, that's money that's supposed to be going to bills and things, right? But, you know, living life on the edge. We went out to eat, and I remember she got her check, and she had enough to pay for the check, but she didn't want to tip anything. She spent like $50 on food. And I used to be a server. So I remember saying, you know, like, you're not going to leave anything? And she was like, pretty much she had the idea, like, it's not my problem, that it's not my problem mindset. And in that moment, I realized if we don't have enough money to be going to tip when we go out to eat, maybe we shouldn't be going out. And in that moment, I felt that subtle shift of maybe there's more to life. Maybe I need to be looking at things a different way. But at that time, I didn't have the knowledge or the understanding that I could shift my mindset. We put ourselves in situations to feel poor. That's what I'm saying. We make choices to experience things that we do not have to experience in that moment. If you want to go out to eat, and you want to go out to eat so bad that you're willing to spend your very, very last dollars on going out to eat, there's a chance that that meal and the ability to go out to eat is attached to a sense of pride. If I can't do this, I'm poor. And if I'm poor, what does that say about me? When in reality, we should be thinking about everything from the place of, I respect my money, I value my money, and I'm not going to spend down to the last dime because that's going to put me in a specific mindset, a fear-based, insecure mindset. So if we know that we can make choices to not only feel broke, we can also make choices to feel rich. What would those rich choices look like? And it looks like this. There is nothing wrong with making a charcuterie board for you and your friend to enjoy. And I'm not doing this because I can't afford to go out. I'm doing this because it's a conscious decision. I know this is gonna sound weird to a lot of people, but I know some people are gonna understand what I'm saying. The cool thing about a money fast is that it allows you to see yourself in the position where you are already rich. Because making a charcuterie board is not very expensive if you don't include meat. And when you're making that charcuterie board, you can think to yourself, I have everything I want and need because this is going to be a beautiful experience. It's really perspective and how prideful we're being with our money. It's like we value financial validation more than we value our actual finances. So to finish this little clip off, I would like to give you permission to allow yourself to let go of the need for financial validation. You don't have to go out to eat with people if you would rather save that money. You don't have to buy a new outfit, buy new shoes, buy a new purse if there are other things you would like to use that money for, and if those other things would offer you more security and would make you feel more like an adult. Financial validation means nothing if you don't make good decisions and if you don't make decisions for yourself. Give yourself the opportunity to feel as if you already have everything you need by making good choices with what you already have. This gives us the ability to detach from our desires, because a lot of us have very expensive desires and there's nothing wrong with that. But when we see that we already have everything we want and need, we can detach from our desire, which may be attached to our need for financial validation and that pride. We can detach from desiring that thing for validation and truly just want that thing because it makes our life experience better. And when we want something and we have all that attachment to it, that pushes it away, right? So a money fast can help us learn how to be content and grateful for where we currently are. We can see the wealth that we already possess, and we can pour into those feelings and expand the wealth and expand the feelings of prosperity and abundance instead of trying to fake it, which is a big part of our culture. It was on the playground.
Yes.
Like
Spiritual.
yeah, like
Yes.
voices. Okay.
Yes. So, but there's different versions of that. One is like hearing, one is feeling, smelling. Yeah.
Okay.